Welcome to Premia TNC webinar. I'm Joey, Chartered Company Secretary. Before we start, there is a Q&A sessions at the end of presentations. If you have any question, please feel free to drop a message here and we will answer your quotations and questions during Q&A sessions. Also, you may click the above line chat web button and we will contact you shortly for further consultation. Thank you very much. Type of Hong Kong companies. First of all, I'm going to present about Hong Kong company type and company formations. Irene, my partner, will focus on general statutory filing requirement. Hong Kong type of company. The most common kinds of Hong Kong business entity are limited companies, partnerships, and sole proprietorship. The companies that a person can open in Hong Kong, including a Hong Kong limited liability company. Sole proprietorship. This type of business entity is more scale and a low-risk business one, which is why the sole proprietorships are straightforward to set up. It is more scale business for one man only. Advantage is simple to set up, profit entitlement, and no profit tax rate. However, the demerits are source of finance, heavy workload, and unlimited personal liability. Partnership. The business structures permits about two or more people to share the ownership of a single Hong Kong limited company, enabling them to share the responsibility and even increase the ability to raise funds raised by the business. Merits are divisions of labor, sharing business risk, and no perfect tax rate. Demerits are no separate legal existence and bound by the decisions of others. Private Company Limited, being the most popular type of Hong Kong company, unlimited liability company can be easily incorporated in Hong Kong by just registering the business with the company registries under the company's ordinance. Almost all of the small to medium-sized companies in Hong Kong are established as a private company limited by shares. Due to its many benefits, this type of Hong Kong company is chosen the most under Hong Kong Company Ordinance. Liability of the shareholders of the company limited by shares is simple to set up remotely. No matter foreigner is not physically in Hong Kong, there are tailor-made and ready-made company. For the tailor-made company can through e-registrations, online submissions, which generally can be incorporated in one day, and traditional way paper submissions for company formation. Legal entity is a separate legal entity from its members. Members' liability of this company is limited to amount of subscribed shares. The roles of director, shareholders, and company secretary, directors, for taking up management of the company, shareholders, for holding ownership of the company, as a company secretaries for handling government's statutory compliance. Private limited by guarantee. The limited by guarantee type of Hong Kong limited liability company has no share capital, unable to forecast the payments of dividend or to distribute profits to its members, either as provisions, article associations, or past resolution. Liability finding annual return with audit financial statement. Those established with those share capital as following purpose: relief of poverty, advancements of education or training, like associations or society, advancements of religions, environmental protection, trusts and foundations, and betterments for community. Topic: limited company offer its shares and debentures to the public, more than 50 shareholders, on maximum restriction. No restrict right to transfer its shares. Advantage: easier to raise capital and good prospectus. If it goes listing, more elastic strategies for raising capital on the stock market. Disadvantage: increased rules and regulations oversight and high levels of transparency required. It is mandatory to disclose accounts information every year. Company formation: private limited company by shares. The company names must be checked availability in the company registries before you can proceed with incorporations of a Hong Kong company. Directors: a minimum of one individual director and unlimited maximum numbers of directors allowed. The directors must be elected persons who can be of any nationality and is not resides in Hong Kong. Directors must be at least 80 years of age and must not be bankrupt or convinced for any mispractice. There is no requirement for the directors to also be shareholders. Directors' board meetings can be held anywhere in the world. Shareholders: a Hong Kong private limited company can have a minimum of one and maximum of 50 shareholders. There is no residence requirements of shareholders. A director and shareholders can be the same or different persons. The shareholders may be at least 18 years of age and can belong to any nationality. The shareholders can be a person or a company. 100% local or foreign shareholdings is allowed. Shareholders meeting can be held anywhere in the world. Company secretary: when setting up a company in Hong Kong, appointing a company secretary is mandatory. The secretary is an individual but ordinarily resides in Hong Kong, or if a body corporate, must have its registered office or place of business in Hong Kong. It has to be looked at in case of a sole director or shareholders. The same persons cannot as a company secretary. The company secretary is responsible for maintaining the statutory book and records of the company and must also ensure the company's compliance with all statutory requirements. Share capitals: although there is no minimum shares capital requirement, the general norms for the companies incorporated in Hong Kong is to have at least one shareholder with one ordinary shares interest on their formation. Share capital can be expressed in any major currency and is not restricted to the Hong Kong dollar alone. Shares can be freely transferred, subject to a stamp duty fee. Bare shares are not allowed. Register address: in order to register a Hong Kong company, you must provide a local Hong Kong address as the register address. The register address must be physical address and cannot be PO box. Finally, notify clients once the company is incorporated. Bank account opening: the company will open the bank account for the business operation purpose once the company incorporates generally. Here's the basic information when applies for bank account in Hong Kong, and the standards may a bit different, subject by the bank. It shows the tables for private limited company, branch office, and representative office. Majority, the banks will check all the corporate clients of their background about KYC, know your customer, and KYB, know your business. Regarding KYC, they will check all the directors, shareholders, and fortunes signatories and requires them to provide the identification documents and latest address proof. So that corporate documents like certificates of incorporation, business registration certificate, incorporations form and articles of association, and etc. to be provided. Also, banks will require for business proof to understand KYB. If you have your own business currently and you can provide the current business proof like invoice or contracts with the bill latings if you're doing business in the trading industry. If you would like to own new startup business, you can provide the supporting document to explain that you have a relevant background in the same industries, just like you can prove that you have the level and relevant knowledge how to run the business and expand your business. Sometimes bank will require to provide the proposal or business plan of your business. The whole procedures will be taken 1 month and it is subject to the bank. If bank requests more information or supporting document during the application review, it may take longer time. Eventually, one more thing we would like to point out here is the bank may request for the average minimum balance to keep in an account all the time once the account opened. Otherwise, may charge for the monthly fee so that you may consider it you choose the bank to set up account. Now, I would like to invite Irene to present general statutory filing requirement.
Hello everyone and thank you Joey. This is Irene. In Hong Kong, a majority of companies are registered a company limited by shares, and the Hong Kong company is required to take care of the reporting and filing requirement for the company every year under the company audience and inland revenue audience. So for the following, I would like to introduce the general statutory filing requirement. According to company audience, every Hong Kong limited company has to file the annual return regularly every year. The annual return is used to call NAR1 form. This is a report to notify the CR of updated information and company structure. Whether the company structure has changed or not during the years, this is required to file the annual return with the latest company structure within 42 days from the anniversary date. For any late filing, there will be a government penalty imposed on the company. If the company is dormant and has been delivered the notice with registrar, the company will be exempted to file the annual return with company registry. For change of company particulars should be reported in the specified form according to the relevant provision of the company audience. For any change in particulars information of director and company secretary, including address, passport number or name, and etc., the company needs to submit notification, which is a specified form, notice of change in particulars of company secretary and director, to the CR within 15 days of the change. Moreover, the notice of change of address of registered office is required to be delivered for registration within 15 days to report the change in the registered office address. Also, every officer of the company, including its director, company secretary or manager, has the responsibility to ensure that the company has complied with all the provisions of company audience. For business registration certificate, business operator may select for issue the certificate, valid for 1 year or 3 years. Regarding renewal of business registration certificate, The business registration renewal demand note will be sent to the business address of the company before 1 month of the current business registration certificate expire. The demand note will be displays the business address, business name, day of payment, and the valid period. The company should settle the payment with IRD within 13 days from the anniversary date in order to obtain the updated certificate. Also, the company should inform IRD of any change of the BR particulars, such as change the business address, change of nature of business, commencement of business, and etc. The business registration fee amount may be subject by the Hong Kong government in the different financial years, and it should be renewed on time to avoid any penalty. For the tax reporting, the company should get its first PTR within 18 months after the date of the incorporation, and each subsequent PTR of the company will cover 12 months, and it should be filed annually. For corporation, the profit tax rate for the first 2 million Hong Kong dollar of profit earned is 8.25%. Profit above 2 million Hong Kong dollar earned by the company will be subject to the tax rate of 16.5%. For the first PTR, the company is required to arrange filing within 3 months from the issuing date. For the subsequent filing will be depends on the year-end date. For example, the accounting year-end date between 1st of April to 30th of November, the filing deadline will be 2nd of May of the following year. The year-end date between 1st of December to 31st of December, the filing deadline will be 15 August of the following year. The accounting year-end date between 1st of January to 31st of March, the filing deadline will be 15 November on the same year. Therefore, the filing dates of PTR of each corporate will be different. At the same time, the PTR should be submitted with the supporting documents such as audit report. For the employer return, the company has an obligation to file the employer return to IRD with all its employees annually, no matter the employees retain service in or outside Hong Kong. The employer should report all employees' personal particulars, remuneration paid to the employee in the relevant years of assessment. For the newly set up company, employer will receive the employer return between 3 to 6 months after filing of their first audit financial statement. In general, the employer return will be delivered to the employer by IRD on first working days of April every year. And the company should report the return within 1 month from the issuing date. For the employer application, the employer has to maintain the payroll record of the employee and keep this record for at least 7 years, keep the updated employee personal particulars, and inform IRD when any change of the particulars or the terms of employment. Also, the employer tax application commences when you hire your first employee. Regarding Significant Controller Register, for 1st of March 2018, the company registry has commenced amendment audience and introduced new requirement on the keeping of significant controller register by company. This is to enhance the transparency of corporate beneficiary ownership in order to fulfill Hong Kong's international obligation and request the company incorporated in Hong Kong to obtain and maintain up-to-date beneficiary ownership information by way of keeping a significant controller, that's SCR. Under the new requirement for SCR, the company incorporated in Hong Kong is required to identify person who has significant control over the company and to maintain a significant controller registered to be accessible by law enforcement officer. Also, the major application of the company including identifying significant controllers, allowing impressment by law enforcement officer, giving notice to significant controllers and others, updating information in the register and entering particulars in the register. For the SCL, you may have a question: who is a significant controller of the company? A significant controller including a registrable person who is a neutral person, a registrable legal entity which is a shareholder of the company that have significant control over a company. A person has significant control over a company if one or more of the following conditions are met, and generally it will be depends on the personal shareholdings or whether has a right to exercise or significant influence or control over the company. Here you can see the 5 nature of significant controllers. To maintain the proper information on the SCL, the company must keep its SCL in English or Chinese. Also, the information of requested particulars, day of becoming a significant controller, the nature of control over the company of every significant controller, the particulars to request of each significant controller's name, and the registrable person corresponding address, identity card, or passport number and issuing country, or the registrable legal entity, legal form, registrable number, place of incorporation, and register address. The company needs to update the register if any change of particulars. The name of contact detail of at least one designated representative to provide assistance relating to the company SCL to the law enforcement officer. Regarding the annual general meeting, AGM, under the company audience, a company must hold AGM in respect of each financial years of the company instead of each calendar year. For the newly incorporated company, the company should hold the first AGM on 9 months after the first anniversary of the company incorporation, or 3 months after the end of that accounting reference period, whichever is the later. For the ongoing company, the company should hold the AGM on 9 months after the end of its accounting reference period. For example, the company financial year end as at 31st of March, the AGM should not hold later than 31st of December. If the company financial year end as at 31st of December, the AGM should not hold later than 30 September. About the AGM, the company should send a notification of AGM schedule with all members at least 21 clear days. If the notice shorter than 21 clear days must agree by all the members entitled to attend and vote at the meeting. Also, there are some situations may attempt to hold an AGM on each financial years. Under company audience, a company is not required to hold an AGM if everything done by written resolution and the document are provided to all members of the company. Also, if the company is only a single member, it is not required to hold an AGM. For the company audience, also allow a company to dispense with the holding of AGM by written resolution or a resolution at a general meeting passed by all members. This is also exempt a dormant company from the requirement to hold AGM. That's the end of today's presentation. We hope the information is helpful for you to understand Hong Kong company. Now is a Q&A session. Let me invite Joey to join us again. Okay, so now maybe we check the question from our customer first. Okay, is it possible to move my overseas company jurisdiction to Hong Kong? Actually, yes. If the overseas company wish to carrying a business activity to establish and the place in Hong Kong, it must firstly to register a business entity in Hong Kong as a non-Hong Kong company and register the BR number in Hong Kong, so you should apply for the registration within 1 month after establish the place in Hong Kong, so you can contact us for more details.
For the next question, for Hong Kong company incorporations and bank account opening, do I need to come and visit Hong Kong? For incorporation part, it is not requiring for your physical visits. The formations can be done by online registrations or paper submission. Regarding company bank account opening, it depends on each bank requirement and policy. Generally, the banks request physical visits to verify the identity in persons, while we know that some of the banks provide alternative solution recently. You may contact us for more details and assistance.
Okay, for next question. Is a private limited company required to file the annual return together with the financial statement? Actually, no, it is not required to file the financial statement with the annual return if your company type is company limited by shares.
The last P question, can the company only have shareholders and not employees? Does the appointed directors need to be paid a fee either on monthly or annually basis? At least one individual director must be appointed, while director's fee is optional.
Okay, so I think this is all the pre-questions. So maybe now we can look for if any live question. Okay, so do I need to pay the full capital of the company before register it in Hong Kong? Actually, for Hong Kong company, this is feasible and then not required to pay up the capital before registration. But this is proposed to bank in the capital after the company bank account is open.
The next questions. When is the time for Hong Kong company do the first time tax filing in Hong Kong? According to Hong Kong Company Ordinance, the first set of statutory audit financial statement of a newly incorporated company to be prepared within 15 months of incorporation. Thereafter, it should be 12 months per each subsequent financial year in according to the ordinance. That's all for our Q&A sessions.
Okay, so we hope today's webinar can help you to more understand the Hong Kong company and how to set up and maintain the company in good standing. So that's the end of today's presentation. If you have any question, please feel free to contact us. We are Premia TNC and thank you for your watching. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.